But 1967 proved to be a season of punishment for Meredith. A succession of injuries forced Tom Landry to start third-year quarterback Craig Morton, who performed brilliantly. Big, strong, and durable, Morton displayed that certain winning quality that portended future greatness. No receiver was ever out of range of Morton's powerful arm. An even more important asset was a quick, alert mind, as both he and Meredith directed the most complex offense in pro football. For 3 periods, the determined Steelers sensed an upset. Then, suddenly, they struck for a late fourth-quarter touchdown that gave them a 21-17 lead with just a minute to play. With Dallas 78 yards from the Steeler goal, a funny thing happened on the way to an upset. Craig Morton, on a rollout option, threw to Lance Rensel, who made the catch, but then fumbled. Trailing the play was Dan Reeves, who alertly recovered the loose ball on the Steelers' 6. With 32 seconds to play, the bench stood unbelieving. Forced from the pocket, Morton scrambled until he found Pettis Norman free for the touchdown. It didn't seem possible, but the Cowboys had found a brand new way to win a game in the last second. For 3 weeks, Dallas had tantalized opponents by giving them a taste of victory, only to snatch it away in the waning moments.
Now Craig Morton, a rookie from California, is in the ball game. He's 6'6" tall. Here's the fake. He's going to throw. He's going for Bob Hayes. Hayes on the post pattern, juggles the ball and still has it. Hayes will score easy and jog in. A 49-yard touchdown play. Craig Morton to Bob Hayes. Fair in Dallas, Texas. A big crowd here at the Cotton Bowl. Craig Morton going to the outside to Bob Hayes. Hayes does a little dance, gets away from Morgan and gets out to the 35.
Now on 3rd down and 4 on the 25. Craig Morton in at quarterback. Finds Gent for 15 yards to the 10-yard line. Again Morton. This time to Clark. A touchdown for the Cowboys. Danny Villanueva converts, and it's the Cowboys 47, the Falcons 14. Craig Morton. Can't find anybody open. Keeps the ball. Sam Huff making the tackle. Ball game is tied, 10-10, 3rd quarter. Morton to Bobby Hayes. Hayes trying to elude Clay, but is taken out of bounds by Billy Clay. Now on 1st down, Morton to Hayes. And Bobby Hayes gets a good block and turns in a fine run. He's in there for a touchdown. As we repeat that from the end zone camera, watch number 73, Ralph Neely, throw a key block right here, taking Clay out of the play. And the Cowboys have the lead, 17-10.
Craig Morton is the quarterback now for the Cowboys. Bob Hayes has it, and it's a 1st down at the 47-yard line. 7-7 game. Morton. And Bob Hayes is there for a beautiful catch and a Dallas touchdown. It's 3rd down and 5 for Dallas. And Morton, his receivers covered, runs down the sideline. It's a Dallas first down at the New York 11.
As the half ended, Morton found his favorite receiver, Lance Renzel, cutting into the end zone.
Craig Morton finally starts working the Cowboy offense with authority. Lance Renzel is the target, and it means 24 yards. Morton culminates the drive with another strike to Renzel. The Cowboys cut the Eagle lead to 14 points. The combination of Morton to Bob Hayes covered 64 yards, but it wasn't enough. By the end of the afternoon, the Eagles had offered their doubting fans some very concrete answers. Craig Morton replaced the ailing Don Meredith and pinpointed Lance Renzel for 20 yards. On a 4th and goal situation on the Washington 16, Morton hit Frank Clark for a touchdown to cut the Redskin lead to 14 points. "60 seconds later, on a rollout, Morton passed to Pettis Norman for a touchdown. But the Cowboys' gallant comeback fell short as time ran out and the Redskins held on to win 27-20.
Number 14, Craig Morton, entered for the injured Don Meredith. The results were the same as Morton found Dan Reeves for the Cowboys' 17th point and a comfortable halftime lead. A strike to the Cowboys' leading receiver, Lance Renzel, capitalizes on the Eagle ineptitude. In the third quarter, the 49ers added a field goal before the Cowboys started to move. Craig Morton, now at quarterback, hit Hayes in the flat, and the rest was all Hayes as he scampered into 49er territory. Dallas got the ball again midway through the period, and Morton tried his best to catch the 49ers. This drive was highlighted by two Morton to Renzel areas, the first one covering 20 yards. Renzel has taken a lot of pressure off Bob Hayes and has become the key to the Dallas passing attack. On this touchdown, Renzel demonstrated his ability to catch the ball without going out of the end zone, the mark of an excellent receiver. Renzel's grab made it 24-16, with still time to get more. However, the determined 49ers would not yield today. The fine defensive efforts of their front line prevented Morton from getting rid of the ball, and time ran out on the Cowboys, who must look much better if they're to beat Cleveland for the Eastern Crown.
Even an injury to Cowboy quarterback Don Meredith didn't affect Dallas' fortunes. The next week, against the Chicago Bears, Craig Morton directed them to an equally impressive 34-3 triumph. But injuries have often blighted Meredith's career, and it's lucky that the Cowboys had a number 2 quarterback like number 14, Craig Morton, who would step in and never let the offense miss a beat. Morton is big, strong, and blessed with enormous physical gifts. Only time separates him from stardom.
Morton then sprinted left and kept right on sprinting to the Detroit 3-yard line.
What separates the Dallas Cowboys from other teams is their tremendous depth. Like the champion Packers once had, they seem to have almost as much talent on the bench as on the field. The loss of a talented runner such as Dan Reeves would be costly to most teams, but replacements like Craig Bainham and Les Shy have excelled this season. Likewise, not many teams can replace a Don Meredith with a quarterback as capable as number 14, Craig Morton, a former All-American from California who would be a starting quarterback for many other teams. Each time Morton has taken over for the oft-injured Meredith, he has come through, and today would be no exception. On this play, Morton wasted no time in proving there would be no let-up. Rensel's touchdown made it 30-17 as the quarter ended.
Coach Tom Landry replaced Meredith with Craig Morton, and the fine number 2 man went right to work and right to Bob Hayes. Hayes played in the snow a little before getting back to business. Craig Morton learned to pass away from Willie Williams and worked his way up to where he could run for some points. Morton played a little more than half the game and completed 14 of 20 passes. On the final drive, he hit Lance Rensel on several occasions, and Rensel got into the spirit of the season by putting some figure skater moves on the defense.
Don Meredith left the Cotton Bowl for the last time a winner, and left the Dallas Cowboys to fill the most important position in football. 1969 would be a rebuilding year, and the Cowboys would be a team in transition. The new general of the Cowboys was Craig Morton. Morton had patiently waited 4 years for his turn to come, and now it had arrived. The apprentice became the master craftsman. The preseason saw a complete renaissance of the Cowboy backfield. For the first time, Dallas displayed its passing might as a healthy Craig Morton bombed the Philadelphia Eagles with 3 touchdown passes, and the Cowboys won 38-7. The Dallas line helped Craig Morton launch pro football's most devastating offense. In his first year as a starting quarterback, Morton generated a reconstructed attack that gained more yards than any team in pro football. With a flick of his wrist, Morton powered his passes through the narrowest seams in the secondary. To a quarterback, courage is as much a part of the game as throwing touchdown passes. During the season, Morton proved that his heart was as strong as his arm. Morton played much of 1969 crippled, but he endured the beatings, withstood the punishments,
and came back throwing.
In Philadelphia, the Eagles met the Dallas Cowboys. The explosive Texans moved through the air on the strong right arm of quarterback Craig Morton. Bedazzled by Hill, the Eagles then fell prey to Morton's bomb to Rensel, and the Cowboys possessed a comfortable 21-7 advantage. Craig Morton scrambled free of the rush and found Dan Reeves, number 30, unmolested at the Eagle 10 for a touchdown. A replay shows that Morton wanted to exploit the Eagles' vulnerable middle. But when no outlet appeared, he alertly unloaded to Reeves, his second or possibly his third choice of receivers on the play. With Hill nursing an injury in the second half, Morton ripped the Eagles apart through the air. On one pass to Rensel and another to Homan, Morton steered Dallas to its last touchdown. Morton's rollout touchdown to Mike Ditka, number 89, coupled with a later field goal, gave Dallas 38 points and over 500 yards in total offense. Cowboy quarterback Craig Morton, number 14, consistently shredded the Falcons' deep defense. Morton either drilled the ball to the open areas of the Falcons' zone, or when no hole appeared, he used his supercharged arm to muscle the ball through traffic. This touchdown pass to flashy Lance Rensel, number 19, gave Morton and the Cowboys a sizable 24-3 lead in the third quarter. Hampered with a sore arm that allowed him to throw but 4 passes all week in practice, Morton threw for 5 touchdowns in the first half alone. His first 2 went to number 19, Lance Rensel, on identical slant-in patterns. Bob Hayes, number 22, returned to the starting lineup for the first time and quickly showed that a 4-week absence has not eroded game-breaking speed as Morton and his receivers continued to run relays up and down the field. Came on the same pattern as the first 2, a quick slant in to the post. His 5th touchdown of the half came on a rollout throw to tight end Pettis Norman, who was all alone at the flag. At halftime, Dallas led 42-7. In the second, the Dallas offense acted as if it had never been away. Craig Morton directed an attack which accounted for over 400 yards in total offense, and he threw for 2 scores, including this one to number 22, Bob Hayes. Mike Ditka, number 89, started in place of the injured Pettis Norman, and his touchdown reception capped an impressive 33-17 rebound victory. Dallas fans hope that these are the real Cowboys. Dallas retaliated swiftly when Craig Morton scrambled free of the rush and connected with Lance Rensel for a 65-yard score. Craig Morton brought the Cowboys back with a rollout touchdown pass to tight end Mike Ditka, number 89, and at the half, the score was tied. Again, Morton brought Dallas back, but this time a sure touchdown pass resulted only in field goal position. In the fourth quarter, Roman Gabriel burrowed into the end zone to give the Rams an 8-point lead with only 4 minutes remaining. But Morton and the Cowboys still would not fold. A 99-yard drive culminated with passes to wide receivers Bob Hayes, number 22, and Lance Rensel, number 19, to pull the Cowboys within 1 point at 24-23. Although the Rams held on to their 1-point victory, these two star-studded teams must now wait till January to find out who really is best.
But the division title-bound Cowboys were just not that easy. They quickly regained a lead and made life miserable for John shortly thereafter.
Dallas squeezed a little offense from their drenched attack. Mike Clark booted a field goal and Craig Morton skirted right in for a touchdown as the lackluster Cowboys held off the determined Steelers to clinch their 4th straight title, 10-7. Morton produced a score when he rolled left and lofted a perfect strike to Lance Rensel, who was beyond the flailing arms of safety Tom Maxwell, number 42. Morton broke a 10-10 deadlock with a long delivery to Bob Hayes, coupled with a 19-yard touchdown lob to tight end Pettis Norman. Quarterback Craig Morton was effective with passes to tight end Pettis Norman, who is more used to blocking than receiving. Whenever the Washington pass rush became too hot, Morton cooled it down with reverse screen passes to setback Walt Garrison, number 32. Morton led Dallas to its first touchdown by passing first to Bob Hayes on a deep square-out pattern. Then, with the flow going in one direction and Morton in the other, he baffled Washington with a strike to Pettis Norman for an easy score.
But Dallas was still alive. Morton was hit, but still got off a strong pass to his tight end, Pettis Norman, for the Cowboys' deepest penetration of the day. Dallas fans finally had something to yell about. A few plays later, despite a mix-up in the backfield, Craig Morton got a Dallas score to bring his team within 17 points.
Quarterback Craig Morton and Bob Hayes, who returned to action, burned the blitz as Dallas streamed away with a 27-16 victory. A rematch with the Eagles saw Lance Rensel dust off Philadelphia's defense. Twice, Rensel ran free and easy through the Eagles' leaky zone for scores, but Dallas was an undistinguished victor, 21-17. The Cowboys were 5-2 and apparently sleepwalking to a division. First downs were disdained for touchdowns, and for years the Cowboys were the highest scoring team in the pros. From anywhere on the field, the offense cranked up rainbows that exploded into touchdowns. So with their record at 5-4, Tom Landry tried again for simplicity on offense. He traded the flamboyance of the big play for steadiness and victories. Using his tough tight ends Mike Ditka and number 84 Pettis Norman to shuttle in his plays, Landry assumed a personal share of the offensive burden. It was up to quarterback Craig Morton to execute the master plan. Morton now probed, not bombed, defenses. The road to victory became a conservative one. It was a day for the offense, which scored 52 points. But most of all, it was a title for a team that was pronounced dead in November. It was a day that ended the most rewarding regular season in the Cowboys' 11-year history. A first down pass from Craig Morton to Walt Garrison bent the will of San Francisco.
Up with its defense as Lance Rensel wisely used his chest, not his hands, and slid through the surf for a touchdown. Final score, Wales 13, Porpoises nothing. Craig Morton caught the Chiefs in a multiple blitz and lobbed a pass to Bob Hayes. It was an 89-yard foot race between Hayes and the Chiefs' fastest man, Emmett Thomas. It was a mismatch.
But late in the quarter, Dallas mounted a drive. Watch number 33, Dwayne Thomas, as he takes Morton's pass and gets the Cowboys' first down of the game. Thomas has been the surprise of the year for Dallas. It's 38. Having set up the defense, Morton now went for it all and got it. Bob Hayes had Parker beat, and the Cowboys were back in front. On a repeat of the score, Morton sent both backs out, and his protection was the key. It held up well, and he easily found Hayes, who made a nice knee-high grab. The Cowboys had restored their big play offense to regain the lead 10-3 as the first quarter ended. We'll be right back with more exciting action on the NFL Game of the Week. Momentum of the game then took a sudden turn, and it was another big play from the Cowboys that did it. Morton again went for Hayes deep. Defender Willie Williams just nicked it. Hayes made the bobbling catch, and the world's second fastest human had given the Cowboys a 17-6 lead. And on the third down, Morton fired complete to Rensel on the New York 45. A repeat of this crucial play shows that Rensel almost dropped the pass that gave Dallas the first down they desperately needed. Less than 2 minutes to play now, and Morton hit Hill in the flat, but the Giant linebackers and secondary provided no escape. Morton was faced with another third down situation and went to Hayes, who made a great catch. A repeat shows Hayes made the catch with Willie Williams all over him. The Cowboys were at the Giant 43. Then came the key play of the game for Dallas. Morton hit Reggie Rucker, who had been activated only the day before, and he took the pass to the giant 10-yard line. But Rucker had been illegitimately in motion, and the ball was brought back to the 48-yard line. 37 seconds left to go, and Dallas had to move into field goal range to tie. They had been further penalized by a holding penalty, but they got back into New York territory with a flat pass to Reeves.
Probably the most encouraging sign to troubled Tom Landry was the way his quarterback, Craig Morton, turned Washington pressure into big gains. Morton found his receivers with deft lobs or scorchers like this connection with Lance Rensel.
A cool Craig Morton has turned imminent disasters into big gains for Dallas. Against Green Bay, Morton used Bob Hayes as an outlet receiver and as a long-range missile to cut through the Packers' deep defense. The Dallas offense was so well-tuned, they turned a 1st and 42 situation into a first down. The Cowboys scored with seeming ease. Quarterback Craig Morton found a completely uncovered Walt Garrison for 1 touchdown.
Was produced by seldom-used receiver Reggie Rucker, who took a simple slant in from Craig Morton and converted it into a 52-yard explosion. Another view shows that Rucker, number 88, operated from the center of the Cowboys' wishbone tee. Even with the defensive flow moving to the left with Rucker, Morton speared him cutting against the grain, and the willowy receiver glided expertly through the middle of the Oiler defense. For the long and limber Rucker, it was the first touchdown in his short career and gave Dallas fans an omen of things to come. For today, Dallas would dredge up the one-shot rainbow strike that has been missing for most of 1970 and bury Houston through the air. With Dallas fans demanding blood, quarterback Craig Morton, their sometimes hero, sometimes villain, laid open a gaping wound in the Oiler defense with a 38-yard scoring strike to Bob Hayes. Another angle illustrates the reason for the play's success. Operating behind flawless protection, Morton combined with Hayes on a deep crossing pattern that beat both Hayes' primary defender, Leroy Mitchell, number 41, and his deep help, safety Ken Houston, number 29. For Bob Hayes, his touchdown signature would be repeated 3 more times today. While the Doomsday defense was intimidating the Houston attack, Craig Morton coolly led Dallas to a commanding halftime lead by mixing medium-range passes with the power blocks of guard John Nyland, number 76. Of perfect blocking and Bob Hayes resulted in another 6 points for the Dallas Cowboys. A second look reveals that a deft play-action fake to Thomas froze the Houston defense long enough for Morton to sight his receiver. The rest was all Bob Hayes. When the loudspeaker announced disdaining the run, Dallas jet streamed past Houston over ground. While Bob Hayes sifted through even double coverage, Walt Garrison slid into the unprotected areas in the Oilers' zone and ravaged it with some reckless running. The Cowboys gained a 4-touchdown advantage when Morton connected with Hayes for a third time. Once again, Morton's protection was perfect. Once again, Hayes left Oiler defenders clutching only air as he evaporated into the end zone. Within a minute and a half of their last connection, Morton and Hayes did it again for the 4th time. This time, Hayes was alone at the sideline as he revved up and motored for a 59-yard touchdown run. The play is worth repeating because Morton's beautiful fake to number 35, Calvin Hill, occupied 2 Houston linebackers and allowed Hayes to finish his best day ever with 4 touchdowns and 179 yards on 6 receptions. Dallas 38, Houston 3.
Dallas operating from its 13-yard line. Morton. It's Hayes at the 32, and he's got the first down. That is the first pass that Morton has completed to a wide receiver this afternoon.
Then it was Garrison again, this time swinging out of the backfield uncovered as one of Morton's infrequent passes hit Garrison for the score. On a repeat, watch Morton's fake to Thomas completely fool the 49er defense, who were so anxious to stop Thomas they over-pursued the play, leaving Garrison wide open. Coach Landry was calling the best game of the 7 he had called this year, and the Cowboys were executing his plays like a machine. Cowboys 17, 49ers 3. Needing this first down badly, Landry called for a pass, and Morton hit Rucker on one of the best and biggest passes of his career to keep the drive going. On a repeat of this important play, we can see what happened to Morton. Caught between the devil and the deep blue sea, otherwise known as Hardman and Heineman, Morton was hurt badly. But Craig Morton's career had been a history of injuries. Injuries with which he had played and played well. He came back 2 plays later and gamely tried to pass for another first down. But with his ribs and chest hurt, he was way off, and the Cowboys had to punt.
I think the Cowboys, well, I know the Cowboys have a tremendous running game, and Baltimore has a pretty good running game, not that outstanding. However, Baltimore's passing attack is head and shoulders above Dallas's because Craig Morton simply hasn't been able to throw the ball the last 4 or 5 weeks, and it's not because he can't. He's had a sore arm. He's had more injuries to his arm. And this is going to cause them a big problem.
Well, I think that our whole philosophy of offense has kind of been switched from a wide-open type of get-rich-quick plays to the more steady ground game, trying to establish that we do have a powerful front line and we have some excellent running backs. And so we always like to feel that we can control the game by running, and by doing this, we limit the defensive time on the field, and consequently, we have more plays, and it has turned out to be real successful for us the last 7 weeks.
Quarterback Craig Morton of the Cowboys, number 14, threw 15 touchdown passes during the regular season. But his scattered arm statistics in the playoffs were dismal.
The Cowboys, however, then began to roll for the first time. And ironically, it was through the air. The linebackers had been stacking tight to watch the run. And Landry called for the short, wide flip to number 30, Dan Reeves, and it worked. He also called for Morton to continue to try and hit Hayes deep. And this one was a beautiful pass between 2 Colt defenders that brought the ball to the Colt 6. Then one of the big plays of the game.
Only once did Morton resort to that old and honored cowboy trademark, the long pass to Bob Hayes. Hayes' catch brought Dallas to the Baltimore 6.
This time, Morton took his team into the end zone. First, Landry called for the short flip to Dan Reeves that had worked earlier, and it worked again. Reeves easily beating number 56, linebacker Ray May, to the 7. Then on a textbook play-action fake, Morton caught everyone on the Colts, and Dwayne Thomas took his pass and scrambled into the end zone as Billy Ray Smith's tackle came too late. Finally able to capitalize fully on a turnover, the Cowboys took the momentum back and took a 13-6 lead with 7 minutes left in the half.
Craig Morton moved the Cowboys to a touchdown with 3 quick passes to his running backs, Dwayne Thomas, number 33, and Dan Reeves, number 30.
Quarterback, a choice was made. Roger Staubach replaced Craig Morton.
When quarterback Craig Morton's deft play-action fake froze the Bills' secondary, and Bob Hayes galloped unmolested to a 76-yard score. Quarterback Craig Morton threw only 14 passes, but completed 10 of them for 2 touchdowns as Dallas escaped with a 49-37 victory on a day both defenses took a long rest. One man who can always be counted on to generate some scorching offense is number 22, Bob Hayes. At times, the Cowboys scored so easily it looked like a dummy drill on the practice field. Quarterback Craig Morton's command of Dallas' multiple offense gave setbacks like Walt Garrison, number 32, clear avenues to the end zone.
Cowboys now inside Giant territory at the Giants' 49-yard line. Lance Always, motion left. Morton looking deep for Bob Hayes. And that's why they pass.
Yeah. That's one reason why you want to put them in the air every now and then.
That's right, but only after you've laid the foundation.
Absolutely right, Howard. That was a great throw.
Between Athos and Joe Green, the completion. Right on target. Bob Hayes. He is really something special.
It really is good to have somebody like that on your side, man, because he can really get open. Here it is again. Craig sets back, throws. And Bobby, it's just, there's not anybody really can keep up with him. It's not a discredit to anybody here on defense. You get him man-to-man. He's caught 4 passes tonight for an even 100 yards.
Craig Morton started for the Cowboys today, and it didn't take him long to get the Cowboys rolling. On the first play of the game, Walt Garrison went 36 yards with Morton's screen pass.
In Chicago, Roger Staubach, number 12, and Craig Morton, number 14, were 2 quarterbacks on the merry-go-round operated by head coach Tom Landry. On Sunday, Landry called every play by shuttling in and out his revolving quarterbacks. This alien strategy worked to perfection on Dallas's first possession. Mixing in the receiving of Lance Alworth, number 19, and the roughhouse running of Dwayne Thomas, the Cowboys' prodigal son, Dallas took a 7-0 lead. The Bears use only 1 quarterback, Bobby Douglas, because everyone else is hurt. Douglas's talents are as yet undeveloped, but he is endowed with a cannon-strong arm and the body of a tight end. His 9-yard scramble for a touchdown evened the score at 7-7 in the first quarter. Maybe the quarterbacks were not in shape to run those 40 yards to the huddle on every play, but somehow the merry-go-round began to spin the wrong way. Suddenly, Cowboy setbacks were grist for the Big Bad Bears defensive mixmaster. Suddenly, wide-open Dallas receivers became defensive backs as 4 interceptions turned the game's flow back to the Bears. Trailing 13-7, Dallas's doomsday defense towed out and poured over the Bears' boy quarterback. Their pressure caused a fumble, and their presence caused a bad snap that they converted into a 2-point safety. Ahead 16-12 in the last period, Douglas's pump fake throws defensive back Mel Renfro, number 20, long enough to allow Dick Gordon an unmolested path to a touchdown. The point after proved as dramatic as the score when Douglas turned another bad exchange into an unusual extra point. Bears 23, Cowboys 12. With just over 3 minutes left in the game, Craig Morton found Gloucester Richardson floating free behind the secondary. And now the margin was a mere 4 points, 23-19. With 2 minutes remaining, the Cowboys forced the Bears to punt. There would be plenty of time to score again. Cliff Harris tried to find the sideline, but found only Bears and he fumbled. Thunderstruck, the Cowboys had lost their 3rd game while head coach Jim Dooley and his Cinderella Bears remained just 1 game behind Minnesota in the NFC.
What do you think, Coach? I think it's pretty nice. Very good. Congratulations. I'm really happy. Hurry up, Mike! We're fighting number 1. All right.
When the 1971 regular season began, the drama of summer camp seemed far behind. And in the first 2 weeks, the quarterback dilemma was resolving itself. An injury to Roger Staubach early in the second game meant Craig Morton took most of the snaps.
He beat him by 3 steps, and Craig Morton threw as well on that one as he ever thrown in his life.
But in week 3, the Cowboys' hold on first place and Morton's grip on the starting job both slipped away.
Craig started the 3rd game in Dallas against the Redskins. We didn't beat the Redskins, so then I started the next week. So it was a very confusing quarterback situation.
Things got more confusing in that Monday night game against the Giants.
Back to throw, Roger down the middle, caught for touchdown!
Staubach gave the Cowboys a 13-6 lead, but Tom Landry benched him at halftime.
So now I'm thinking, hey, he hasn't been shooting straight with me. That, you know, here we are winning a game, and to be taken out. It couldn't have been anything worse in my mind. That was a horrible moment for me. I mean, I've never felt so bad.
Morton back to throw. Bob throws a bomb way down for Hayes. Bobby's got it. Bob Hayes.
The Cowboys beat the Giants, but lost 3 games in 5 weeks. And Tom Landry began using his quarterbacks like a baseball manager uses his bullpen. In the first half of the season, the offense had no rhythm because the team had no leader.
I think that was the downer at the start of the season. There wasn't a leader at quarterback. There was 2 of us, and it divided the team.
I did not like an alternating quarterback. I know there must have been a reason that Coach Landry had, but as players don't like that. We like to have somebody over there. If he's not going to cut it, put somebody else in, but let us have somebody to lead us.
I had a lot of admiration for Craig Morton, and but I was in a tough situation. I was 29 years old at the time, and I knew I could be a starting quarterback in the NFL. Well, I told Coach Landry, if you don't have the confidence in me, you need to think about having me go somewhere else.
44-21 victory over New England gave the Cowboys a 4-2 record. And for the first time all season, Roger Staubach played every meaningful minute of a game.
So now we're really in there's everybody's picking sides, Some people on Roger, some people on Craig. That game definitely got some people on my side. I really thought maybe I was in the lead.
It was now week 7 of a 14-game schedule, and the Cowboys still didn't have a number 1 signal caller. In an effort to resolve the two-headed quarterback situation, Coach Landry made a head-scratching decision.
We're in the team meeting, and Coach Landry announces we're going to have 2 starting quarterbacks against the Bears. I'm going to alternate plays. And, Craig and I kind of looked at each other and said, I just hear, what was that? I hate the question. Coach Landry is, again, he's not perfect. He's a little quirky at times. And that didn't make any sense. That just showed the fact that he still hadn't understood that the team was a bit divided at quarterback.
We were getting a lot of penalties because of delay of game. Because the quarterback come in, they'd be shouting on the sideline, he'd look over. It just wasn't... It was distracting. It was very distracting for everybody.
We were beyond the sidelines. We get to play, and it's like 2 ships passing the night. We just go, run out in the field. Craig's run off the field, and sometimes we'd probably high-five each other. It was not one of Coach Landry's great moments.
The quarterback experiment failed, or as Sports Illustrated put it that week, the operation was a success, but the patient died. The Cowboys outgained the Bears, but lost 23-19, and were now in danger of missing the playoffs. The quarterback controversy was affecting every aspect of the team. The defense decided it was time to approach Coach Landry, but there were no volunteers.
We voted Leroy Jordan the opportunity to present our feelings to Coach Landry. That we wanted 1 quarterback, 1 leader, either one, just give us a quarterback.
On the brink of a lost year, Tom Landry listened to his players and made the decision that launched an American hero and saved a Super Bowl season.
We'll go with Staubach as our quarterback. I think it's Roger's time to make his move if he's going to make it. I feel I'm confident he can do it, or else I wouldn't have picked him.
When he announced I was a starting quarterback, it changed my life. That was a kind of a whole new season starting, and we had a team meeting too, and it was a great team meeting.
Real emotional, and where players got up and really were hot.
Hey, this season isn't over. We still have 7 games to go, and
if they get in the goal line, it's over somebody's dead body. Otherwise, they don't get in there. We weren't giving it all we had. And from that point on, we did.
The offense was superbly generaled by Craig Morton, who threw 2 touchdown passes, one to new Cowboy Ron Sellers, and another to Lance Alworth, as Dallas won handily, 28-6. After weeks of idleness, Roger Staubach warmed up his sore shoulder and watched Craig Morton demolish the famed Baltimore zone. Victory number 4 was a 40-man win as Dallas shut out the Colts, 21-0. Twice, the Cowboys attained 13-point leads. In the cradle of liberty, Craig Morton first connected with rookie Gene Fugit, who shared tight end with Mike Ditka and Billy Truax. Then he found old pro Walt Garrison as the Cowboys offense rang up 28 points. Dallas' last touchdown was scored by Craig Morton, who wanted 6 points so badly he ignored wide-open receivers. The 49ers built up an early 15-point lead until Craig Morton's touchdown pass to Lance Allworth cut the margin to 21-13 at the half. But in the dying moments of the third quarter, San Francisco built back those 15 points and led 28-13. Then Tom Landry made an agonizing decision. He replaced the luckless Morton with willing but rusty Roger Staubach. Since returning from his shoulder separation in the 5th week, Roger had done little but watch Morton guide Dallas into the playoffs. Staubach wanted to play badly, but he realized the masterful feats Morton had achieved in his absence.
On Monday night, Dallas buried New Orleans under a barrage of touchdowns.
This year. We have a nice music piece today with one of my favorite singers singing a terrific song that we all love. John Denver might have had Craig Morton in mind when he wrote this beautiful song about Colorado experience, Rocky Mountain High. After disappointing seasons in Dallas and New York, the Denver quarterback seems kind of revitalized with the Broncos. And after 12 games this season, his team has the best record in pro football. And he also has taken a lovely new bride named Susan. Craig Morton truly seems to be experiencing a Rocky Mountain High.
He was born in the summer of his 27th year, coming home to a place he'd never been before. He left yesterday behind him. You might say he was born again. You might say he found the key for every door. When he first came to the mountains, his life was far away, on the road, hanging by a song. But the string's already broken, and he doesn't really care. It keeps changing fast, and it don't last for long. And the Colorado Rocky Mountain High, I've seen it rain and fire in the sky. Talk to God and listen to the casual reply. Rocky Mountain High. Rocky Mountain He climbed Cathedral Mountains, he saw silver clouds below. He saw everything as far as you can see. His side is turned inside himself to try and understand the serenity of a clear blue mountain lake. And the Colorado Rocky Mountain High, I've seen it rain and fire in the sky. Though he'd be poor of land if he never saw an eagle fly. Rocky Mountain High. Colorado Rocky Mountain High, I've seen it rain and fire in the sky. Friends around a campfire and everybody's high. Rocky Mountain High. Rocky Mountain High. Rocky Mountain High. Rocky Mountain
It's indeed a Rocky Mountain High for Craig Morton, a new wife, a winning team, and Super Bowl possibilities. Isn't that great?
Cinderella walks amongst the mountaintops in Colorado. And the NFL today will continue on CBS.